They make it seem really easy now, don't they? HGTV. I love you guys, but sometimes you kind of, kind of do the design industry a little disservice, a little tiny bit.
Ay, 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 ay. Look. Baby girl love my bop and unlike me too. No roof on my top and my babe see through. Hating on the pen, don't stop, shit ain't gon' feed you. I been all on my grind, so why I need you? Baby girl love my bop and unlike me too.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Angelle Burris, and this video is going to be 5 things that you can do. It's going to be about 5 things that you can do to make the process of working with an interior designer a lot easier. Things that you can do to help them while helping you. So without further ado, let's get started with the video. I'm your local Temecula designer. If you're not local, then I'm just a designer on YouTube. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to break down the 10 steps that I use during full service projects. A full service project is the project that you would completely hand off to an interior designer and only do the recommended steps in order to be involved in said project. Full service is you come in, we get down to the nitty gritty, and we handle everything, all the nitty gritty work, the installation of the project, the cleaning up of everything, and the final reveal. Basically, what you see on HGTV, but in greater detail. It's actually a pretty long and involved process, and it takes a lot of team members and a lot of hardworking people to make everything come together. They make it seem really easy now, don't they? HGTV. I love you guys, but sometimes you kind of, do the design industry a little disservice, a little tiny bit. Anyone who is actually an interior design professional or who has had work done with an interior designer knows that 30-minute segment of a show is highly edited, highly in more ways than one. So let's go ahead and get down to my 10 steps, and then we'll talk about what you can do to help your designer. So the first step in our client process would be to do a discovery call. That's a 20 to 30 minute call in which the design firm will figure out what the desires and what the needs are for the project. Step 2 would be a consultation with a principal designer or a senior designer. Step 3 would be a trade day visit or a site visit where we're going to take measurements and photos and all of those good things so we can take them back and devise a plan to design the space. Step 4 will be where the designing begins. This is the agonizing part for most clients. You can't see the work that's being done, but this is when the magic happens behind the curtains, basically. Step 5 would be the presentation and the execution of the floor plans and elevations. At this meeting, you'll get to see what we've done and what we pulled together and make any changes that are necessary. Step 6 would be the placement of orders and scheduling trades. Once everything's been approved, purchase order has been signed, tradesman's order has been signed, and payment received, I then begin to take orders and place them and begin scheduling the work. Step 7 is receipt of those orders. We'll start to receive those and view them to make sure that they're free of any damages. Step 8 would be the review of budget and project status. This meeting will take place with you at your home, and that's when we review the work that's completed by the tradesman, and that's when all the final invoices are due. Step 9 is installation day. My crew of professionals will be there to clean the room if required and install furnishings, hang art. Step 10 is resolving deficiencies. This basically refers to anything that may have happened during the installation. If there's been like a scuff, we'll come in and address that accordingly. And the final step would be closure of the project. That's when we usually give the client a before and after pic and a documentation of the process and all of the invoices. Those are the 10 steps that I used when I go on to do a full service project. And now we're going to talk about what you can do to help. The first thing you can do to help your design professional is to have your inspiration ready. If you do magazine clippings, then bring them in. If you do an inspiration board on Pinterest, bring that in. Anything and everything that you have that can help your interior designer get you to the finish point more seamlessly is going to help. Take inspiration from your closet. That's one of the biggest things that I would recommend doing. Going in your closet, seeing what patterns that you have repeat of, seeing what textures and what colors that you have abundance of, and taking inspiration from that. Normally, fashion and interior design are kind of like mirrors of each other. Whatever is basically trending in fashion will often cross over to interior design. Okay, the second way that you can help your interior designer is by having a having a realistic budget. Think about when you've purchased furniture in the past. You know you're gonna need a bed, you know you're gonna need two nightstands, you're gonna need two table lamps, and five, six pillows, depending on how many pillows you like. Think about the necessities and think about what it is you like to do and how you like to live. Have a realistic budget, have a little bit of a 10% fee in there for contingencies just in case you order something and it goes out of stock. Now, as designers, we do not have any control over things coming and going in and out of stock. We can order something and the manufacturer says, oh yeah, it's in stock. Next thing you know, they call us back 2 days later and say, actually, that's out of stock and the replacement that we have is a little bit more expensive. It happens all the time and it's frustrating for both the designer and the client. But having a little bit of buffer in your materials fee is going to save you a lot of headache. Sometimes things happen and we just have to be ready for them. So understanding your budget, making sure it's realistic, just doing a small little search on what things cost based on what you need and what you want is going to help you go a long way. Let's go to number three. Number three, please understand decent level of involvement from the design client during the design process. Now, some clients want to go shopping with their designers. Some clients want to be along for every single step of the way. That can be a little bit of a hindrance, not because we as designers don't like our clients. We just want to be able to do the design and creative process solely or within our teams because it just helps things to flow. The designer will have a process that they have perfected. They just have their way of doing things in order to get to that end result that you're looking for. So if we're out shopping and we have everything that you told us, the pictures, measurements, and all of that in our head, if you want there to be a certain time frame in which things are completed, then tagging along with your designer probably isn't going to be the best bet. Having trust in your designer, making sure that they do have a process, that's what you really want. You want a designer to have a process and a method of how they do things. Definitely helps to make sure that they follow in order to keep themselves on track. For me, the most important thing is to make sure that I am on time. I don't want to ever overpromise and underdeliver to a client. And I also want to make sure that their money is spent wisely. People work hard for their money. You want to make sure you get the most bang for your buck, but you also want to have a beautiful and amazing, stunning project. If your designer emails you or calls you with a question, getting back to them in a timely fashion is going to help the execution of the project because, yeah, we definitely have things that we need our clients to do in order to help the process go along smoother. So what's your level of involvement? Do you want to be side by side with the designer? Probably not, but you also should be available to answer questions in a timely fashion because it's going to help us execute, and that's exactly what you want us to do. Please, please follow this fourth tip. That is flexibility. Say it with me, boys and girls. Flexibility. It's so important. Flexibility is important because when you have a fixed mindset, it can really hurt a design process. It can hurt the outcome of a project. I say to each of my clients when we get started, there are going to be days when you love me, and there are probably going to be days when you are annoyed as hell with me. And some of those things are without my control. I really cannot make a furniture manufacturer do anything. I can call a million times. I can double check, triple check, quadruple check to make sure something is in stock. And if they mess up, then I have to come to be the bearer of bad news to my clients. And I try my best to avoid doing that, but sometimes mistakes happen, and the designer sometimes will bear the brunt of said mistake. There are going to be delays. There are going to be things that happen that no one wants to have happen, but they do happen sometimes, such as things arriving broken. Story time. A couple of years ago, there was a client that I had who wanted a very upscale look in their conference room. And I ordered a beautiful marble table because, I mean, it's marble. Like, marble is the star of the show when it's in any room. And I thought that this would, because it came from a reputable company, I thought this table was going to arrive and everything was going to go off without a hitch. Well, the first table broke. My client was like, okay, I get it. This happens sometimes, no big deal. And let's just order another one. I said, don't worry. They're going to go ahead and send us a replacement. They sent us a replacement. The day before the replacement was scheduled to arrive, called me and said the table had broken again. My client was like, okay, well, let's go to another manufacturer. Still very flexible. I was like, thank God, because I was so nervous thinking that this was going to be off with her head type thing. I'm just sitting here waiting like patiently like everyone else. So I called another manufacturer. That table came. That table was also broken. And at that point, the client started to get a little upset. And I do not blame her because this is so unfortunate that three tables from two separate manufacturers came in destroyed. On the fourth try, we ordered something locally and it went off, without a hitch. But thank God that client was so flexible and understanding. If the client hadn't been reasonable and said, hey, I'm not going to sit here and chew my designer out. They're not breaking these tables. Then it could have been a totally different experience. I'm grateful to, my clients that they are so understanding and so willing to be flexible and say, let's go ahead and do something different as opposed to chopping my head off. So I say flexibility because it really makes a difference in our working relationship. Things are going to happen. It's just a matter of how you deal with them. Going into your design project, understanding that things happen and being able to roll with the punches is going to be the best thing you can do for your designer because it's going to just make them a lot more willing to bend over backwards to go above and beyond for you in your project. The fifth and final thing that you should do is to make sure that you have a realistic time frame in mind when talking about completing a design project. There are things within the design project that are unexpected. Like we discussed before, things happen, tables break, but it's up to us designers to inform our clients on what's happening in a timely fashion. And it's up to us designers to derive a solution when things like that happen. So if you say, I want my complete remodel done in 1 month, I want this whole house gutted down to the studs, and I want everything ordered, installed, no project mishaps, nothing broken along the way.
I'm gonna look at you like this.
You know why I'm gonna look at you like that? Because a month's time to do an excessive amount of work and to do it right is not realistic and it's not helpful for anyone. You may want something, but what should happen is you should have an amazing, beautiful result at the end of this project. And as a designer who is under tight deadlines and pressure can be done, but are you under duress when you're doing this project? No one wants to struggle and work through a situation like that. Don't even talk about permits because the city, they have their own timeline for doing things. You want to have the project go smoothly and you want to have it done right. So you're going to make sure that you have what you need to have when you need to have it, as opposed to trying to rush things. Nothing rushed ever looks good. Nothing rushed ever comes out really well. And if it does, then it's a miracle. But in reality, interior design, good interior design should take time, and it does take time. And if you understand the design process, then you'll know that you shouldn't go in and demand that things take half the time in order to get the same result as something that took way longer. I say all that to say that these 5 things are going to help your design process. They're going to help your designer work with you seamlessly, make your project look amazing. You're going to be a wonderful, sought after client if you have these things that you come to the table with when you inquire about working with an interior designer. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to let me know down in the comments. You can go to angelburns.com and check out my website. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.
Baby girl love my vibe and I like me too. No roof on my top and my babe see through. Hating on the pimp, don't stop, shit ain't gon' feed you. I've been all on my grind, so why I need you?